This looks so cool. Before we start, I want to warn anyone who's planning to buy any products from Aliexpress, like this one. This is a floating center cap for the BMW i8, and it says it is original BMW accessories. Even on the box, it says made in Germany, has all the barcodes, product number, and QR codes, and all the detailed parts that we need. However, even though it looks legit, you open the box, and not even on a quick inspection, but I noticed when I was trying to pull it out, the top fell off or broke off the base because they used some mediocre glue to install the emblem on it. Now it does center and stay upright, but like I said, one is broken, another one is broken. These two are still intact, but eventually the mediocre glue is gonna separate and this might fall off. So what I'm gonna do right now is off camera, I'm just gonna clean this up and put some better glue before we install it on our BMW i8. So be warned, if you buy it, make sure you check it immediately. If you want to return it, return it. It's just going to be a hassle returning it on Aliexpress because it takes a while to bring it back to China and get your refund. But it's all up to you because this is almost half the price of the one you buy from the dealer. But you get what you pay for. So just a quick update, I've been taking out the cheap glue that was used on our floating center caps for the BMW. I should be done soon, and funny thing is this glue is very easy to remove, so I might as well take out the other two that are sticking in place because you don't want this flying out when it's already installed.
Many months later.
Now that we have glued back the cover on its base, it's time to install our floating center caps. I got a bit too excited, so I have the driver's side tire out already. And to my eagle-eyed i8 owners and viewers, yes, my rims are on the wrong side. Unfortunately, I only have one low-profile jack, so I can't switch them out right now. So please bear with me with this travesty. Someday I'll be able to switch them over. But for now, let's install our floating center caps. Here is the front of our tire. Flip it over to see the back. Now on the back, there's some locking tabs that holds the center caps in place. Push them inward to release. Oops. And there you go. Here's our OEM center cap, and let's see it side by side with the floating center caps. So, right, let's get one and install it. Here's our wheel. Here's our new floating center cap. We just slide it in, just the same way how we removed the old one. Make sure that the tabs slide in. Right, it's a bit of a challenge, I guess. There you go. Woohoo! Now let's install it in the vehicle. Now to install the wheel, I am using wheel hangers that I purchased from Aliexpress. Please note that we're not sponsored by Aliexpress, but they are a good source of non-mechanical parts and cosmetic items for your vehicle. Just make sure that you choose wisely what you buy. So let's install our wheel. Oh, don't do. Here you go. And slide it. Now, just like any other bolts, stand by hand tightening them to prevent it from cross-threading. With the 3 of the 5 bolts installed, we can take out the wheel hanger. I even labeled them for the i8. Now, if it shows on camera, there's some kind of imperfection on the floating center cap. That's actually just the cover. I haven't taken out the plastic cover yet. So, let's test it. Let me just adjust the camera a little better. Woohoo! That looks so cool. Now let's do the other wheels as well. Okay, let's put the first one in there for safekeeping, and we'll take out the second one. Let me also get the third and the fourth one. Front passenger wheel, flip it over and push in the locking tabs to take it out. Easy as that. Ta-da! Now let's put in our floating center cap. Oops, my glove got stuck. Ta-da! Alright, I'm gonna do the back ones off camera, then I'm gonna wake up Helen so we can go to the park and do some rolling videos with the floating center caps. Front passenger side.
2 hours later.
So I have a confession to make. I could not take off the rear tires. So instead of risking stripping the lug nuts on the car, I brought our car to our friends here at Zone Auto Tire. They have the proper tools to remove the lug nuts and avoid stripping the lug nuts. So if you have the same project as I am and you're around the neighborhood, bring your car here at Zone Auto Tires. They have the proper tools to remove your lug nuts for you.
A few moments later.
And that is how to install floating center caps on this BMW i8. This is another episode of How to Helen. Hope you liked this episode, and thank you for watching. Before we start, before we start, I want to warn everyone, for anyone who is planning. So just a quick update. I've been taking out the cheap glue on our floating center caps. So just a quick update. I've been taking out the cheap glue that was used on our floating center caps on our BMW floating. So just a quick update. I've been taking out the cheap glue used on our. Now that we glued the cover back, now that we have glued back the cover on its base, it's time to install the floating center caps. Now that we were able to glue the cover back to its base, it's time to install the floating center caps. Now that we have installed the cover, it's time to install the floating center caps. Now I got two. Now that we have installed the cover, now that we have glued back the cover, now I got a bit too excited, so I have the driver's side tire out already. Now, end. But for now, let's install our floating center caps. Oh, this is so hard. Ouch. Now to install the wheels, I also bought some wheel hangers from Aliexpress. Please note we're not a sponsor of Aliexpress, but they are a good source of non-mechanical and cosmetic parts. Just make sure that you choose the parts that you buy. Just make sure that you choose the buy. Just make sure that you choose the parts that you. Just make sure that you choose the parts or items that you buy Just make sure that you choose the parts. Just make sure that you. Now let's install the wheel. Oops, wait, I gotta take out my support jack from behind. Let me do this again. Now to install the wheel, I'm also using wheel hangers from Now to install the wheel, I'm also using wheel. Here's our OEM center cap. Then let's compare it to the floating center caps. Just take out one, the one we just glued. Let front passenger side. Front passenger wheel. Front passenger tire. Front passenger tire, flip it over. And that is how to install floating center caps. And that is how to install floating center caps on this BMW floating center caps. Woohoo! Woohoo!